Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko maunga kiki toku moanga. Ko manukau toku moana. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Our names start us on a journey of discovering our identity that our parents give us. My parents gave me the name Shireen because it's a multicultural name in Malaysia where I was born. There are Malay Shireens, Chinese Shireens, as well as Indian Shireen. It is Persian in origin, meaning sweet. This gift my parents gave me is so significant today as I work in this whole area of developing cultural intelligence in New Zealand. Almost 30 years ago, my family arrived in Aotearoa, New Zealand to live. My parents gave up their life in Malaysia for a hope of a better future for me and my brother. They wanted us to have a world-class education at domestic prices. Coming to New Zealand was both exciting and challenging. It was exciting because it represented a new beginning. It gave us opportunities and experiences that we would not otherwise have had. This is me in my school uniform. My brother and myself chose to become Kiwis. Basically, we made the decision not to study very hard and to enjoy life with sports and music. I went to Massey University in Palmerston North to do my degree. All of these experiences are pieces of my identity. They shape how I see the world, the values that I have, and the choices that I now choose to make. Moving to New Zealand was also hard. We had to start again. It was really hard to make friends and to establish a support network that we could be part of. We were isolated, strangers, and sometimes misunderstood. My dad struggled to find a permanent job without New Zealand experience. So he eventually went back to Malaysia to pursue his career, and Mum followed suit. All these experiences have shaped who I am and who I am becoming. Every migrant experiences the pull from coming from the world that they have left behind to placing roots to where they have arrived. There were things in Malaysia that I missed, the people there, but there were things and people in New Zealand that I loved and embraced. Today, Aotearoa, New Zealand is my home and my country. I now have a world-class education. I have friends, meaningful work, a community, and even a New Zealand accent. The New Zealand that I now live and work in is a very different New Zealand from 30 years ago. The cultural diversity has now been amplified, so much so that Auckland can now be considered a super diverse city. 44% of Auckland are not Auckland born. There are 200 nationalities and 160 languages spoken. Now, this diversity is not just in Auckland. It is also here in Northland, all the way down to Gore in Southland. Globalization has brought tourists, immigrants, international students to our midst. It can be easy to fear and feel threatened by this growing cultural diversity. There's not a week that goes by where there are news articles that have underlying themes of racism, sexism, and the lack of cultural awareness. Our fears, our ethnocentric attitudes can be harmless, but if left unchallenged, can lead us down a slippery slope of misunderstanding, distrust, conflict, even wars. However, we can embrace this diversity. We can choose to trust and respect each other. We can build inclusive communities. My idea with sharing is that developing cultural intelligence is important for us to negotiate the complexities of relating in our super diverse country. You may ask, how might we do this, or what is cultural intelligence? You'll know about IQ, and you'll know about EQ. Well, cultural intelligence is CQ, or the capability to interact effectively in culturally diverse settings. It is something that can be learned. We can train our brains to do this. Now, the culture in cultural intelligence is much more than our ethnicity and our nationality. Culture as a word is so much broader. It represents the values, beliefs, customs of a group of people. It is both dynamic because culture shapes us and our identity as much as we shape the culture of the groups that we belong to. There are many cultural influences that shape who we are and who we are becoming. We are the sum total of all these cultures. Developing cultural intelligence begins with growing our self-awareness. I believe that there is power and security in knowing who I am. The journey to where I am today began when I was asking the question, who am I? Am I Chinese or am I a Kiwi? Torn between two worlds of trying to figure out who I am, I discovered that to be uniquely Shireen was to be both Malaysian-Chinese and a New Zealander. But I am so much more than my ethnicity and nationality. I am a daughter. I am a sister and a sister-in-law. I am a auntie and a niece. I am a friend. I am an immigrant. I am a follower of Jesus. I am a woman. I am a business owner. All these I ams shape who I am, like layers of paper mache. Another way to think about culture is to think of it as the software of the mind, the social programming behind why we do what we do, how we think and behave can often be like hidden code. Communicating effectively across cultures means we need to decode that. Do we understand when our Māori co-worker takes a week off to go to a tangi? Do we know about island time? What happens when our Samoan co-workers avoid eye contact? And what about our Chinese colleagues who agree to do something but does not do that? Having cultural intelligence gives us the ability to understand the underlying code of why some of these behaviors and values that underpin, giving us the ability to interact. Cultural intelligence is the ability for you to look and go, adjust those stereotypes and assumptions in order to relate effectively, creating greater understanding and more meaningful interaction. Aotearoa today is diverse. It's becoming super diverse. We need to learn to communicate effectively across cultures. In my professional life, I am working with leaders of organizations, asking the question of how they create diversity in their organizations or actually harness that. Some organizations are asking the question, what would it look like to bring our whole selves to work? This speaks of inclusivity. Inclusivity happens when our diversity is harnessed towards a common purpose. At the very heart of inclusivity is the fundamental right of every human being to be respected for who they wholly are. What would it look like for us to bring our whole selves to work? Well, it means that we create an environment where trust and respect of everyone is paramount. Harness diversity becomes a competitive advantage. An engaged workforce will show results. Businesses are needing to be more innovative and more creative. Cultural intelligence with diversity is that key. There's growing evidence that diverse teams are more innovative, successful, and productive. McKinsey research shows that ethnically diverse companies are 35% more likely to outperform their peers. Catalyst research shows that organizations that have women on their boards also outperform their peers. And Deloitte Australia has shown that inclusive teams outperform their peers by 80% in team-based assessments. In all of these, it shows that diversity can be harnessed to create more productive teams, but only if we learn to work together. And developing cultural intelligence is that key. Imagine managing a team with 10 different nationalities and multiple subcultures in the work to complete a project. What about an Asia Pacific customer support team needing to respond to clients? Or the New Zealand Rugby Union Board as they welcomed the first female director earlier this year. Each one of these situations need us to develop cultural intelligence. This journey is an ongoing process. It needs leadership to take ownership and for everyone to make a choice to develop cultural intelligence. I believe that in order for Aotearoa New Zealand to be prosperous and thrive in our super diversity, we need to develop our cultural intelligence. Just like a cake in this diversity, all the ingredients, when they come together, when mixed up, will come and leave us with a yummy cake, or it could be disastrous. I leave you with a whakatauki, or a proverb. No te roro, naku te roro, ka ora ai te iwi. With your food basket and my food basket, this tribe will benefit. If you bring your whole selves and I bring my whole selves, Aotearoa will surely benefit. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.